Hey there, good people. Brian here with a pop quiz. Who is this lady right here? Don't get confused. Look at the title of our lesson and think about where in the world we are. Did you guess Cleopatra? Well done! You're looking at probably one of, if not the most famous Egyptian person of all time, and it's because of this and the famed pyramids that most people think that they know a little something about North Africa, and particularly Egypt. Would it surprise you to know that Cleopatra wasn't Egyptian? Nope, she was Greek from a line of generals who followed Alexander the Great. And those famed pyramids would have been as old to her as she is to us? No, really. Maybe this is a good time to mention that Egypt is only one part of the vast region that we call North Africa. So let's hop on our best desert transport and head on in. Welcome to North Africa. Our objectives today are to learn about the important physical features and climate of North Africa, to identify the people groups of North Africa and learn how they got there, and to partake in some of the unique cultural experiences which can be found in North Africa. Now, as we get started here, make sure that you print off your PDF lesson guide for today, because I've got your first question. Looking at this map, make a prediction about the physical features present in North Africa. Pause here and answer on the top line of number 1 on your PDF. There are 3 main features that we should take a closer look at in order to better understand North Africa, and those are the Nile River and Delta, the Atlas Mountains, and the Sahara Desert. The longest river in Africa and vying with the Amazon River for the title of longest river in the world, the Nile flows 4,130 miles north from Lake Victoria in Tanzania to the Mediterranean Sea. Right around the city of Khartoum in Sudan, the Nile is joined by another major tributary. These two together have been called the White Nile and the Blue Nile. After joining together, they flow through the entire country of Egypt and drain out through the massive delta created by the silt the Nile brings. This silt is what gave life to ancient Egyptian civilization. Just about as geographically different from a river delta as you could imagine, the craggy peaks and deep valleys of the Atlas Mountains stretch 1,200 miles along the North African coast. While mostly hot and dry, rivers run through some of the valleys, in which dwell the Amazigh people and several unique species, such as the Barbary macaque and Barbary leopard. Yup, this is the big one. At 3.6 million square miles, the Sahara is the largest hot desert in the world and covers not just North Africa, but all or part of 11 countries and takes up 31% of Africa's landmass. While we think of desert primarily as sand, the Sahara isn't just ergs, or sand seas, but also hamada, or rock-floored plains, dry valleys called wadi, salt plains called chott, and dry lake beds, or oud. Add in the oases, or groundwater aquifers creating pools at the surface as the only source of water or food in the region, and you have quite a variance, no? While the 3 we discussed are the major features, I'm sure that you've noticed the North African coast, all 2,878 miles of it. Many ancient and modern civilizations lived along the North African coast, not only for its valuable transportation capacity to Europe and Asia, but also a somewhat milder Mediterranean climate. Since we've started talking climate, let's go there now. Here we are again, and here's another time for prediction. First, check your predictions about physical features. How'd you do? Next, pause here and make a prediction about the climate of North Africa for number 2 in your lesson guide. The Mediterranean coast has, wait for it, a Mediterranean climate. I can't put anything past you, can I? The milder winters, hot summers, and some rainfall make this the most ideal region for people to settle. The majority of North Africa is desert, or arid climate which has very little rainfall, intense heat for most of the year during the daytime, and freezing conditions at night. Nope, you didn't hear that wrong. Sand and rock absorb the sun's heat quickly throughout the day, but also cool very quickly at night. One more climate region of note is called Sahelian, after the Sahel region, which is a transition zone running the entire length of the continent, from the Atlantic in the west to the Red Sea in the east. Sahelian is a savanna which has cooler, dry winters and hot, somewhat rainy summers brought by monsoon winds. To the south of this zone is the beginning of the African tropical zone. What's changed about your knowledge of North Africa in regards to its physical features or geographic similarities? Pause the video here. You can answer either with number 3 in your lesson guide or go back to the What Did I Learn spaces in the previous questions and build on your predictions. Head back to your PDF and make another prediction for me. Are you detecting a theme, by the way? What do you know about the people who live in North Africa? Pause the video here and jot down what you know in number 4 on your lesson guide. You learned in our introduction to Africa that there are literally thousands of different people groups that call this continent home. For North Africa, let's concentrate on 3 geographic regions today: the people of the Maghreb, the Sahel, and the Nile River Valley. So let's deal with the term Maghreb first, because that's a new one, isn't it? Maghreb is an Arabic term for much of the North African coast, which roughly means the land where the sun sets, and has been inhabited by the Amazigh people, also called the Amazigh, for at least 10,000 years. The Amazigh people are themselves divided into almost 20 different major groups, and were largely isolated until their contact with Arab invaders. After that encounter, the Amazigh quickly converted to Islam and spread across North Africa and southern Europe. Remember the movement of Arabic peoples across Southwest Asia in the 10th and 11th centuries? Well, many moved here as well and largely shaped the face of modern North Africa. A majority of people in the Sahel area are of Arab descent, and they are the largest ethnic group residing in North Africa today. While many people would mistake Egyptians for another group of Arabic people, that isn't necessarily the case. While Arabs from Southwest Asia are present, many people identify themselves with the older ethnic group of Egyptians, or descendants of the people who created the ancient Egyptian empires from 3100 BCE to 30 BCE. European colonization of Africa also introduced influences from France, Spain, England, and Italy. Well, we've started to talk languages, so let's now shift over to our last topic for today, culture. Before we do, let's once again go back and check our predictions and, that's right, let's see if you've heard of any cultural traits or influences from North Africa. Pause the video here and look for number 5 on your lesson guide. Arabic is the largest language spoken in North Africa, coming from Southwest Asian Muslim influence. There are also many dialects of Arabic, including but not limited to Egyptian Arabic, also called Masri, and Maghrebi Arabic, spoken by the Amazigh. The Amazigh also have their own language complex, called Tamazight. Another guess you may have already made is that a majority of people in the region identify as Muslim, and you'd be right. Almost 95% of the estimated 255 million people who call North Africa home are Muslim. A majority are Sunni, with several pockets of Shia and Sufi in Egypt. It may surprise you to learn that a large number of Egyptians identify as Coptic or Egyptian Christian. A little over 6 million people, mostly in Egypt, identify as Christian, or a little over 3% of all North Africans. Almost 1 million others throughout the region identify with an animist or tribal religion as well, and many mix Islam and traditional religious practices. In Algeria, folk tales set to song and the khabi, or traditional folk music tradition, is extremely popular. However, some of these folk tunes called rai have also taken on a pop music beat and are popular with the younger crowd. Additionally, due to the connection between Spain and the North African coast, Andalusian music can also be heard throughout the Maghreb. How about movies? That's right, Cairo, the capital of Egypt, is often called the Hollywood of the East and produces over 100 films a year. Due to its long inhabitation, the entire North African coast is filled with relics and ruins from different civilizations. Tourists flock to Leptis Magna in Libya or the remains of Carthage in Tunisia. Of course, we can't forget the Great Pyramids at Al-Giza or the plethora of Egyptian sites up and down the Nile River. And we can't end without talking about food. Some of the highlights include couscous, a small pasta made from semolina flour. Or maybe you'd go in for an amazigh tagine, a slow-roasted combination of meat and peppers left to slow cook all day in a ceramic dish and served with flatbread for scoops. Now, keep in mind that most meals here are served community style, so don't be selfish. And what else could finish a good meal than a cup of hot tea and some French-inspired pastry? Or a plate of the dates and figs grown along the Nile. I'd better stop before I get hungry. Before we wrap up, pause briefly here. Head back to your lesson guide and add to any of your questions that you learned something new about. I guarantee it's going to come in handy for the Extend Yourself activity. North Africa. Not simply a hostile desert, but a place of oases, river deltas, and fertile mountain valleys, filled with people from diverse backgrounds and with diverse customs. The face of the modern countries of North Africa and their challenges will be the focus of our upcoming lesson on North Africa, countries, and conflict. In the Extend Yourself activity, write a little about your knowledge of this area and what you want to learn more about. Until then, keep exploring.
Hey!